A pleasant morning to all of you. I am Heidi Hernandez. I am going to present my thesis entitled Development and Validation of Storybook in Teaching Mathematics Among Kindergarten Pupils. So let's start with the introduction. Reading storybook develops children in different aspects. It increases children's eagerness in reading. Not only reading, listening and speaking skills are also stimulated. According to the article of How Children's Book Can Benefit Kids for Life 2017, storybooks are a powerful instrument for teaching values. It develops the imagination of children through telling stories using children's book. Reading storybook can integrate in different subjects. One of the subjects is mathematics. According to the article of Read and Spell 2010, that math is one of those subjects that is difficult to understand by both children and adults. This is because whereas preschool math is about practical problem, patterns, identifying shapes, and learning to count, while secondary and high school math instruction are more abstract. The purpose of this study is to develop a storybook in teaching mathematics among kindergarten pupils. The researcher has motivated to develop a storybook for kindergarten pupils to enhance their numeracy skills. Using storybook has a significant effect to the child's learning. It is easier for them to understand, recall, and visualize the mathematics presented to them. Aside from that, learners being more motivated to learn. Not only the pupils will benefit the storybook, but also the teachers. Teachers can use this storybook in teaching mathematics to make the topic easy to understand for the pupils and save on instruction time. Let's proceed to the research problem. The study aimed to develop and validate a storybook in teaching mathematics among kindergarten pupils. Specifically, it sought to answer the following questions. Number one, how may the storybook be developed? Number two, how may the storybook be validated in terms of content, design, format, and pedagogical? Participants. So, the participants or validators of the study consist of two sets. The first set composed of 10 experts in the field of preschool education from the Department of Education, Division of Angeles, Pampanga, and Mabalacat City, who validated the topics to be included in developing the storybook and teaching mathematics. The said experts were kindergarten teachers for 3 years and above and academically attained Bachelor of Elementary Education major in preschool. While the second set of validators was 5 experts from the Department of Education, Division of Mabalacat City. There were 1 education program supervisor in kindergarten, 1 principal, 2 master teachers, Filipino and math leader, and 1 kindergarten coordinator for the school year 2020-2021. The validators evaluated the storybook content, design, and format, and pedagogical. Let's proceed to the instruments. The researcher adopted a content validation checklist for topics to be included in developing the storybook that being asked by the researcher from Pampanga State Agricultural University in the College of Education and allow the researcher to use the instrument to determine the content validity ratio that has given to the 10 content validators and the content validation instrument for topics to be included in the developing the storybook consists of 13 topics which are answerable by essential or not essential. The researcher also used a module validation checklist that has given to the 5 experts to validate the developed storybook in teaching mathematics to have a basis in determining its validity. The researcher from Pampanga State's Agricultural University in the College of Education and allowed the researcher to use it. The module validation checklist is composed of 3 aspects. The first, and the second aspects have 5 items, while the third aspect has 7 considerations for a total of 17 items which are answerable by yes or no. Let's proceed to our procedure. First one, planning stage. The researcher enumerated all the topics in Storybook in teaching mathematics among kindergarten pupils. The researcher included all the topics in the content validation instrument to identify what essential topics should be included in developing and creating Storybook. The researcher referred from different books, websites, articles, and other resources to gather information about each topic that may be included in the storybook. The researcher also considered the budget in creating the proposed storybook. Second stage is the development stage. In this process, the researcher adopted an outline attaining the purpose of the study. There were first, Stage 1, the researcher identified the parts of the storybook and the topics from the content validation result. Stage 2, specify the objectives under marks of each topic. Based on the content validation result, 13 topics were included to develop the storybook. Stage 3, the researcher created own stories while some of them are adapted from different books, articles, and websites. Attached request letter and evidences in appendices. Stage 4, in preparing activities for each lesson, the researcher ensured that each activity is written in clear and appropriate language suitable to the kindergarten pupils. Validation stage. To gather evidence to support the adequacy of the design, content, and pedagogical of the storybook, the researcher asked 2 experts to evaluate the developed storybook as serve as the pre-validation process to check if the developed storybook meets all the indicators given in the module checklist. In doing this, the first 2 drops of the proposed storybook has printed and presented by the researcher to the 2 experts. Then, the researcher revised the said storybook based on the comments and suggestions of the 2 experts who evaluated the storybook that included in the module validation checklist. Afterwards, the 5 experts validated the developed storybook based on the module validation checklist adopted by the researcher from Pampanga State Agricultural University in the College of Education. The validators consist of 5 experts, 1 education program supervisor, 1 principal, 2 master teachers, math and Filipino leader, and 1 kinder coordinator in Division of Mabalacat City. The validators have validated the storybook based on the 3 indicators aspect, which include content, design format, and pedagogical. So here are the results and discussion. So first is the content validation result. So table shows the list of the topics in storybook in teaching mathematics. After the validation of the 10 experts, 13 topics got 1 in accordance with the Loshi table for the maximum values of the content validity ratio per 10 number of experts. Therefore, all the topics above were included in the proposed storybook in teaching mathematics. All the essential topics will help the kindergarten pupils to understand more the lesson in mathematics. Storybook validation result in terms of content factor. So we have item 1.1 up to 1.5. So all the validators score 5. So this table shows the first factor in validating the proposed storybook, which is the content. Content has 5 items which answerable by yes or no. All validators answered agreed to all items. Therefore, the proposed storybook in teaching mathematics had met the requirement in all items under factor 1, which is the content. Storybook validation results in terms of design and format. So item number 2.1 up to 2.5. So all the evaluators agreed. So it shows the second factor in validating the storybook, which was design format. This factor had also 5 items which answerable by yes or no. All evaluators agreed to all items from 2.1 to 2.5. According to Muhammad et al., 2013, kindergarten pupils understand better if the information is presented in a visual manner, such as pictures, graphs, flowcharts, diagrams, videos, or demonstrations. Therefore, the proposed storybook had met the requirement needed in all items under design format factor. So last factor is the pedagogical, item number 3.1 to 3.7. So it shows that the third factor is validating the storybook, which was the pedagogical. Pedagogical factor had 7 items which answerable by yes or no. All evaluators agreed to all items except item number 3.6. Therefore, the proposed storybook had met the requirement needed in items 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, and 3.7. Although there was one evaluator who answered no or didn't agree in item 3.6, it means that there is a need to improve in item number 3.6, which considered as one of the major important priorities in developing the storybook in teaching mathematics. Let's proceed to our conclusions. Storybook in teaching mathematics is valid based on the result of expert validation so that this storybook is suitable to be used as teaching material for learning mathematics. It can be concluded that the storybook in teaching mathematics had met the indicators or the requirements needed in the storybook validation checklist based on the storybook validation made by the 5 experts. However, there is a need to improve the proposed storybook reconsidering the item number 3.6 under pedagogical factor. And lastly, recommendations. The researcher includes some recommendations based on the result and discussion. To the principal, to encourage the kindergarten teachers to use storytelling as an alternative way in teaching mathematics and to make their own storybook. To the teachers, to give effort to use alternative methods in teaching. And to the future researchers, to think of new methods that can lessen the difficulty of the students in learning mathematics. That would be all. Thank you so much for listening.